Good morning, Dr. Douglas Skarada, Modern Nose Clinic, and we want to talk about going for the cure. You mean you can cure allergies? You can. For everybody? Not everybody, but for a lot of people, for the majority of people. So, on this week's episode of Nuggets of Knowledge, going for the cure. Check it out. So briefly, what are allergies? It's your body's immune system, your own private police department looking at innocent things floating around and thinking it's more serious than it really is. So for instance, you're outside and a virus is sneezed onto your face. Well, you want your immune system to know it and go after it and do what it can about it. You are sharing ice cream with your 3-year-old. Why would you do that? Anyway, and your immune system sees some bacteria. Go get it, boys. Shut that thing down. You're at a friend's house and they have a cat and you know it. You can feel it in the back of your throat because there's cat particles floating around that are innocent. They won't make you sick, but your immune system is overreacting. So basically, when we talk about curing allergies, that's a little bit kind of a dramatic statement to be made, but treating allergies, desensitizing you so you don't overreact so readily to all these innocent things, it's giving you a highly educated immune system. And you know, at the Modern Nose Clinic, we are all about educating you better. Our whole business model is to try to do medicine differently because we think working harder at medicine won't solve anything. We believe that if we highly educate our patients, they'll go off and they can educate their friends and family members, and in doing so, it will cure more people at a lesser cost to society. So I'm glad you're watching this. Hopefully you'll share it with someone else. So what about this cure business? Well, there's something called immunotherapy. Immuno means your immune system. That's the police department that's trying to protect your body. Therapy, well, we're trying to treat you. And what we're trying to do, as I said earlier, is not just educate you as the patient, but educate your immune system. And we do that by showing a small amount of what you're allergic to in very safe quantity in different ways. And then over time, your body starts to familiarize yourself with it and says, that's no big deal. And then it stops reacting. So I've got a little bit of a story to share with you, of course, right? Here we go. I had a neighbor with a barking dog. I like dogs. And I thought to myself, what should I do? Should I go and complain? No, I didn't do this, but it would have been cool if I'd done this. I bought a steak and I came home and there was that barking dog. Bark, 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 50 feet away. I took one step towards it. It barked even louder. It wanted to protect its property or didn't like me. I don't know. I must have looked suspicious. And then slowly the barking slowed down. I took another step closer. And before you know it, I was upon the dog. And the dog looked very nervous. And you didn't know if it would bite me or not. That's your immune system. As we get closer and closer to a cure, the immune system could overreact. An overreaction is called an anaphylactic reaction. We have protection against that. It's called an epinephrine pen. And so if your body's immune system sees too much of an antigen, the thing to which you're allergic, the thing floating around the air, too much cat, too much pollen, too much grass pollen, whatever it is, then you could start to overreact. It could launch an all-out war to try an all-out manhunt to get that, grass pollen. You give yourself that epinephrine pen shot and it will save your life, or it certainly will shut down the anaphylactic reaction. More on that later. So you're upon the dog and then you bend over and you give the dog that steak and the dog says, I like you. I'm not angry at you. I like you. Hopefully the dog will still bark at a suspicious person wearing black, breaking in your window in the middle of the night. True that. But we don't want the dog to bark at innocent things. That is what immunotherapy is. So when we say cure, it might be more accurate to say desensitize or educate your body that this really isn't something to worry about. Oh man, this guy's good looking, isn't he? I don't know where he gets his good looks from. Anyway, yes, there are two or more, but there's two main ways that we like to try to cure people of their allergies. When I say cure, I mean desensitize. There is what we call the traditional way, which is what's been done for many, many years, and it's what's covered by insurance, and it's called giving you a shot. You've all heard of shot therapy and shot clinic. And you need to come into our office to get that done. Problem is, it's not the safest way to try to cure you. And you absolutely must have an epinephrine pen. Because if you get a bad reaction, and it can happen, you'll need that. So we're pretty particular about that. It's just kind of the way our world is. I know that when you were a kid, maybe your sister had shot therapy from home, but since then, that's just not something we can do. Luckily, there's even a better way yet. The better way yet? It's called sublingual. Sub means underneath, lingual is tongue. Sublingual immunotherapy. Again, we're trying to educate your immune system. So we will eventually just mail to you, but in the beginning we'll deliver it to you here at our office until we've answered all your questions and we know that you know completely how to do it correctly. You'll do a little eyedropper under your tongue from home. Is this a new fangled thing? Nope, it's been done in Europe for 20 years. And when we do our calculations and we measure everything, and we're really interested in the least expensive way to get the best results possible. This is the least expensive way to get the best results possible when you consider your time. So with our immunotherapy routes, you can come into our clinic and get a shot, at least down our Salem location. Our Portland location, we're not sure if we're going to do that. Or you can do an eyedropper under the tongue. And the eyedropper under the tongue is called sublingual, S-L-I-T, which is very unfortunate, but they call it slit. The shot in the arm is called SCIT, subcutaneous, underneath the skin, immunotherapy. I'm going to break it down for you now. You ready? Here we go. So sublingual immunotherapy is done from home, drops under the tongue. It's the safest route. Because it is so safe, we will not require you to have an epinephrine pen. However, if you've got bad enough allergies that you are undergoing immunotherapy, you could get stung by a bee or something else could happen and you could get a bad reaction. I think it's a good idea to have it at home and we will give you that prescription. I think it's the way to go. However, we won't force you to do that. If you'd like to sign a consent form showing that you've been educated and you chose not to, we will provide that opportunity to you. Subcutaneous immunotherapy, like my little picture of the shot, it's done in clinic. For the first 2 years, it's once a week. After that, it's once every other week, and then at less intervals up to once a month until you're cured. You must have an epinephrine pen, and you need to know how to use it. In any scenario, we want you to know how to use it if you're going to need to use it. And that is the traditional route. So when you calculate time, and you see that it takes time to drive into the clinic, it takes time to wait to get your shot. You get your shot, you have to wait for up to 30 minutes thereafter. You have to have it checked again, and then you go back to wherever you came from. You start to realize that there's a time variable in regards to how expensive that is. You just don't have that same time variable with the slit because it's done from home. So that's why we typically would recommend people consider the slit approach first.
But Dr. Skarada, how much does it cost? Great question. The frustration with medicine, oh, so frustrating. If you go through your insurance company, who knows? We can try to find out. Really, you can probably call up and ask them, but there are so many variables. It is covered by several insurance plans, but they don't give you a check for how much time it takes you to drive in and drive home. That's where the cost savings occurs. So, and also there's often deductibles and whatnot. So each year you have to pay your deductible before it completely kicks in, and multi-year thing, very complicated. Try to simplify this down and we'll give you a handout and you could call up and find out. However, it is unequivocally less expensive for the large majority of people to do the sublingual immunotherapy.
The EpiPen. It's kind of like having a life jacket on the Titanic. If you're going down, you want to have it. Oh gosh, I'd probably want a lifeboat because I heard the water was really cold, but I don't really know. So the epinephrine pen, what does it do? It tells your body to chillax when it's overreacting and it's deciding it's going to make everything swell up, make it difficult to breathe, so on and so forth. Then the epinephrine will tell it, nope, just relax, this is fine, nothing to worry about. Now, if you take certain medications like beta blockers, they're high blood pressure medications and other medications, we really need to know that, and we check it. So if you get a new medication and you're on immunotherapy, you gotta let us know. Oftentimes there's an alternative. You can do a different blood pressure medication that won't block the epinephrine. So you can see if you do the shot therapy, the dog might bite you, and we need the epinephrine to protect you. The sublingual, we like you to have it. We'll teach you how to use it. It's part of the experience. However, we won't force you to have it. It's that much safer. That's why you can do it from home. I hope this helped. Dr. Douglas Skarada, Modern Nose Clinic, signing off. Take care. We know your nose.